Hey everyone, it's Argonath here from Return of the Fan, and another James Bond video. Apologies for that, but here's an interesting take. So a couple of days ago there was an article published on Screen Rant which says that No Time to Die's new 007 sets example for all movies, says Star. So I think Lashana Lynch is thinking a lot of herself at the moment. So Lashana Lynch, the new 007, says that her No Time to Die character sets a strong example of how female characters should be portrayed in other films. Not just this film, but this is how all other films should portray their strong women. So Lashana Lynch, who plays the new 007 in No Time to Die, sees a character as an example of a strong female character that she would love to see reflected in more movies going forward. I wonder how she portrays this particular character in No Time to Die. After many delays due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, No Time to Die will have its world premiere in UK this week before finally releasing it in cinemas around the world in the coming weeks. And it talks about it's the last movie for James Bond. So in the film, Lashana Lynch plays Nomi, an agent who, since Bond's retirement, has taken up the mantle of 007. It's not yet clear what part she will play in the story, but trailers for the film suggest Nomi and Bond will be teaming up at several points to take down Safin, the film's villain, played by Rami Malek. From what little has been shown of Nomi, the new 007 appears to be just as deadly as Bond when he held the title, and the role has been praised for helping to align the Bond films more prominently with the gender equality values of today. Now, that does sound that the movie is a bit woke, but from what I've read from a lot of other reviews and from my previous video, I don't think it is actually woke. It's just kind of part of the marketing. They're trying to pander to the woke people out there, but I don't think the movie is quite that way. But let's have a look and see what Lynch actually says. She's the woman who's right in the center of this change and this shift in consciousness that's happened throughout the world and my culture specifically. She's a great example of the kind of woman that I meet every day, the kind of woman I grew up with as well, and who I'd really love to be reflected on screen for the rest of my life. I would love for my future daughters to just see a character like Nomi as the norm. That would be my dream, and actually I think that is what is going to happen. This shift that the franchise has gone through, I've come in the right and perfect time to say, look, this is an example. Everyone else, other franchises, other filmmakers lead by this example, because this is done so well that I think steering away from this kind of strength with these kinds of nuances would be a shame. I'd like to see a continuation of this, which will be done in this franchise but come across the industry. So let's have a look at how her character comes across. So I haven't seen the movie. Maybe you have. Maybe you will agree with what I'm going to say, and maybe you don't. But one of my favourite YouTubers that I watch quite often, Mr. H Reviews, who I think is a very fair reviewer of movies, and I think he's done a very fair review for James Bond as well, and he made some comments about Lynch's character in the movie. He's not talking about Lynch herself, but the actual character, and this is the character that Lashana Lynch wants to be portrayed as strong woman in all other franchises going forward. So let's have a listen to hear what Mr. H Reviews actually says. So if you haven't subscribed to Mr. H Reviews, I highly recommend you do. I think he puts out some really good content, and he does give really fair reviews to movies. So let's have a listen to what he thinks.
Let's talk about Lashana Lynch's 007, because that is the title that she has. I don't understand what the appeal is. Women who watch my channel, you tell me whether you like a woman to be, I don't know, a bit of an insufferable s-hole, or, d-bag.
Ooh, that's not a very good comment to start with. So remember, he's talking about the character, not the actress, right? He's not talking about Lashana Lynch. He's talking about the character of Nomi. And apparently a strong woman comes across as someone who is not very likable. As you said, a bit of an s-hole, d-bag. We all know what those terms mean. So let's carry on and listen to what he says.
Because Lashana Lynch is that character that we saw in the initial trailer, where she goes, stay in your lane, Bond, or I'll put a bullet in your knee, the one that works, or the good one, or something along those lines.
I mean, why would you want to say something like that, right? Because you're an asshole character. That's why you'd say something like that, right? Even if it was a guy saying it, they'd be instantly unlikable because everyone likes Bond, right? So even if it was a man, I still wouldn't like that particular character. I don't think they're an asshole or a d bag. Let's carry on.
That is her character. There is a slight shift and a change, but by and large, that's who she is. I don't understand why we need to have these characters to, prop up women. It seems quite strange to have all these incredibly, what would be deemed toxically masculine traits on a man and put them on a woman and then say, there you go, women, that's your character.
That is entirely true, right? So it looks like they've made the Nomi character pretty much essentially a guy who would be classed as having toxic masculinity, but give it to a woman. Oh, that's perfectly fine. There's no double standards there. There's no hypocrisy, right? If it was a guy saying this kind of stuff, they come across as toxic masculine. Of course, we can't have that. But give it to a woman. So why are you making strong woman essentially a copy of a man? Why would you do that, right? Let's carry on.
What? Why? She's a bitch. It's not nice. She's just a bit of a bitch. And her lazy tardiness costs quite a lot in this film. And it's a shame. Daniel Craig is reasonable in this.
Okay, so I think that's the end of his comments about Lashana. So remember, when he calls her a bitch, he's not calling Lashana Lynch a bitch. He's calling the character of Nomi a bitch, right? Separate the character from the actress. Right? We can always criticize characters because they're a fictional character. All right. So yeah. So apparently she comes across as a bit of a bitch, a bit of an asshole, makes snide comments. And if it was a guy saying that to a woman, that would just not be allowed, right? But if it's a woman saying it to a guy, oh, that's perfectly fine. There's no double standards or hypocrisy there, as I said before. So we can carry on going. So she comes across as an eminently unlikable character. I'll have to wait and see until I actually go and see the movie. If you've seen the movie, please give me a comment as to what you think, because I'd really love to know. That would be really awesome. And so there was another article about Lashana Lynch that came up a while ago. So this was published on the 13th of May, so it's quite a while ago. Could Lashana Lynch's No Time to Die character receive a spin-off? A spin-off movie, a whole movie about her bitching around about other agents and so on. So yeah, Lynch, I was just talking about that. So I want to start from here. So the announcement reached some unfortunate backlash. This was when she was chosen as 007. Backlash from more close-minded sects of the Bond friend base, but Lynch is only the latest in a long line of budding BIPOC. I don't know what BI stands for, but POC stands for person of colour. Talents to make a role previously reserved for white men and women. A black woman inheriting the 007 mantle is historic, but it remains to be seen whether or not the history will manifest into another film or remain confined to the 25th installment of the Bond franchise. I firmly believe, I don't have any evidence at all to back me up. It's just my opinion. Everyone can have an opinion. It's perfectly fine. If you believe me, great. If you don't believe me, that's fine as well. We'll never get any evidence on this, but I firmly believe that she was in line to take over James Bond after Daniel Craig. I really feel that that's what's going to happen. And then I believe after, there were some rumours going around that after a couple of very early test screenings, which were really bad towards the movie, they did a lot of reshoots and rechanged the way it works. And you'll notice that there was a whole bunch of articles come out quite a while ago about, who should be the next James Bond. It should be a woman, or it might be a black woman, or it should be a black man. So there's a lot of stuff from the woke agenda about changing James Bond from a white male to someone else. And I think they tried to backpedal on that quite a lot, because there was an article that came out recently from Daniel Craig going, he thinks James Bond should always be a man and should not be a woman, and we should write roles which are made for strong women, but just not Nomi, because she comes across as completely unlikable. It's only one person's opinion, Mr. H's opinion, but he is a really good reviewer in my opinion, and I really respect his opinion, so I'm happy to take his word for it. So there's a bit of talk about some failed James Bond spin-off. There was going to be one on Jinx, which was who was it? The name escapes me now. Halle Berry. So Halle Berry's Bond, Jinx. She was in that Bond movie, but that got scrapped at some point. So there's a talk about why it never occurred and so on. So why the Nomi spin-off might not happen. So Lynch's Nomi absolutely deserves a spin-off after No Time to Die, but the odds may not be in her favour. I would so love for them to make a Nomi spin-off movie. I mean, great, that would be absolutely awesome, right? Do it, put as much woke stuff into that movie as you can. It will be so awesome. We'll all have a lot of fun doing reviews on it, and we can just see how much of a disaster it would actually be. So I would encourage movie studios, yep, go and make a Nomi movie. That would be awesome. And if it actually is not woke and does really well, then I'm happy to eat my words, and say that it's a good movie. But I just don't think it would ever be like that. Looking at all the crap that Lashana Lynch has talked about, I just don't think it would actually do that. So that's just an interesting few things about the Nomi character and how she comes across as completely unlikable in the movie itself. I'm going to be really interested to see what people's opinions are. So if you could please leave a comment as to what you thought about the Nomi character, that would be really awesome, and it'd be nice to have a bit of a discussion about that. Anyway, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, you're welcome to give it a thumbs down. If you like my content, please subscribe. It just helps my videos get out there in the YouTube algorithm, and that would be very much appreciated. So hopefully I will see you next time in the next video.